The Trials and Tribulations of an Engineer. Episode 7, Downtime After Classes. We have spent a significant amount of time so far focusing on the seriousness of a higher education. While that topic is important, there is something to be said about the more light-hearted nature that college life can bring. We will spend this episode going over various ways that I have spent some of my leisure time after and between classes. One of my schools was fortunate enough to have a location called a University Center, or UC for short. This was a haven for students because it had fresh grilled food, plenty of televisions, and most important of all, for me at least, they had arcade machines. I spent countless amounts of quarters playing games like Tekken and Soul Calibur to help take my mind off of a grueling day of studying. This was an area where all the students came together to chat and watch their favorite shows all over a decent meal. This was also where the fraternities and sororities offices were located, so you could try to interact and join their groups if that was something that you were interested in doing. I was often told that I could join the fraternity without any hazing period because they needed students to keep up their overall GPA. I was not interested though, so I never joined. Something that every school has is a gym, and this is where a lot of fun can be had with sports such as basketball, flag football, baseball, and my personal favorite, dodgeball. For me, the enjoyment is doubled if it involves a rivalry between other disciplines. I have spent a good amount of time playing with and interacting with new people just by participating in these events. If no one is doing intramural sports at your school, feel free to initiate the activity. Everybody likes a go-getter. Not only does playing these sports teach teamwork, but they also strengthen the bond that you will all have in classes. Are you not a big fan of games that involve large groups of people? Then you can try a game called Hacky Sack. This game can be played with just one person, or it can involve two or more players. I found that if you play this game long enough, others are sure to be curious and eventually will join in. This game always seemed to involve one or more good memories of people doing silly or physically amazing feats trying to hit the small sack without it touching the floor. It is also entertaining to watch young adults do their best effort in getting balls from awnings, ledges, and roofs. There are extracurricular options that you have as well. Are you into cars? There was a club called Mini Baja that involved building a raceable kart. While I didn't personally participate in this activity, I do kind of feel like I missed out because I am sure that I would have learned some skills that would have helped me in the future. If your school has a computer lab, and you are allowed to install programs on their computers, then you have a wonderful setup for a LAN party. I have many fond memories of spending time after class playing a game called Gunbound, which is basically a worms game. Just remember that the computer lab is also used by other students to do work, so try to keep the taunting and bickering down to a minimum. Some of the best times I had in school involved me grabbing a slice of pizza with 2 or 3 of my friends for dinner. There is a great bond that happens with people when they share a meal. It is also the perfect time to decompress after a long day of studying. Not to mention, it is an opportune time to vent about how tough certain classes are. If you are lucky, one of your mates will give you very valuable insights that will give you a eureka moment that can make the class seem easier. The next thing is bound to happen one day, and if you are lucky, you got an invite to a dorm party. Dormitories in different colleges can have varied rules involving the number of guests, times that they are allowed over, and if alcohol is permitted. All that being said, parties are a great place to unwind from the struggles and strain of constantly using your brain nugget. Whatever happens at these parties are typically never talked about again unless you and your friends are in a reminiscing mood, and most of the time they bring smiles back to your faces. If your school offers a sleepover school trip, I highly recommend attending. These are typically offered to seniors, but they are usually well worth the wait. For my class, we drove to Washington, D.C. to go to a mechanical engineering convention. Not only was this educational, but it was also great to be a tourist and see all the sights after the convention was over. Finally, I would like to mention that I was a commuting student and a majority of my classmates were living in the dormitories at the time. I was fortunate to have classmates that would give me a ride home when it was late and our schedules aligned. This was something that I was extremely grateful for because otherwise I would have to travel an hour and a half by train. It was on some of these rides that I really got to know my classmates, and I feel we have a strong friendship up to now in part because of this. So if you have the means and someone is on your way, be sure to give them a lift. It may lead to a long-lasting friendship. There are many other activities that you may be exposed to while in college. I just tried to give you a taste of my past experience. Please put in the comments some activities that you enjoyed in college. If you have found the information in the video useful, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing. Till next time.